Good morning, students. Welcome back to botany sessions. And today we are going to discuss one of the 12th chapter, environmental issues. The subtopic is carbon capture and storage. So, in these videos, what are the topic we are going to discuss now? One is carbon sequestration. Then another one is carbon footprint. Third one is carbon sink. The last one is biochar. These are the topics now we are going to discuss now in these videos. Carbon capture and also storage. Then what is called carbon captures? It's nothing but it is a technology capturing and storage of carbons from the large point sources like industries and also human activities, various parts from the atmospheres that stored underground rocks. These are called carbon captures and storage. Then what the purpose we have to capture the carbon dioxide from the atmosphere and stored underground part? It is in order to reduce the global climate changes, to reduce the greenhouse gases emissions. If the greenhouse gases emissions are increasing, what will happen? Increase of earth temperature, they may cause global warming as a result of earthquakes, tsunami. So lot of other changes may be takes place. So to reduce this, to mitigate means to reduce this hazardous effect, they can store the carbon in various sites. These are called carbon capture storage. So where is the place we have to store the carbon or capture the carbons? It is a technology to capture the carbon dioxide or carbon from the various or large point sources. Large point sources such as industries or maybe agriculture or any other point for a power plant stations. So these are the large point releasing of carbon dioxide to the atmosphere. From this site, we have the ability to capture the carbon dioxide from this site. Now these carbon dioxides are injected into the underground rock, underground site or underground rock, in the depth of 1 kilometers depth or depth of 1 kilometers or more than 1 kilometers in order to reduce the global warmings. So these are called carbon capture and storage. So what are the places or safest places have been selected? So there are the various safest places have been selected for the permanent storage of carbon dioxide underground, especially for geological formation site. The deep geological formation site. Geological formation, it's nothing but the process of formation of rock under the soils. These are called geological formation site. These are the safest places for storage of underground carbon dioxide. Deepest places. It can be stored in the form of liquid. So, liquid storage in oceans, or maybe solid storage. How to store the carbon dioxide in the solid state? Reduction of carbon dioxide with solid metals. Reduction of carbon dioxide. Reduction in the sense addition of hydrogen, removal of oxygens. So reduction of carbon dioxide with metal oxides. The metal oxides to produce a solid state of carbonate. HCO3 minus. So it is one of the way for storage of carbon dioxide in the solid state. So the carbon dioxide can be stored deep into the underground rock. Either may be liquid storage in the oceans or maybe solid storage by reduction of carbon dioxide with the metal oxides to produce a carbonate. It's a solid form, carbonate HCO3. So these are the various safest type. It is also known as geological sequestrations. geological sequestrations. The sequestration is nothing but the process of capturing and storage of carbon is called sequestration. Where is the place we have to store the carbon dioxide? Geological formation under the earth. It is also known as geological sequestration. It may involve a directly inject the carbon dioxide into the underground rock sites. From the geological formation site, for example, declining oil field. These are the site we have to select safest site for the storage of carbon dioxide. Declining oil field and declining gas field, and also saline aquifers and unminable area. Unminable coal area. These are the site have been suggested for the storage of carbon dioxide or carbon. Declining oil field, எண்ணெய் வளங்கள், குறைந்து வரும் எண்ணெய் வளங்கள், and in that area that is a suitable place for storage of carbon dioxide or carbon. Declining oil field, petroleum field, oil field, and also oil refinery field. Then gas field also, declining gas field, saline aquifer, உப்பு நீரூற்று. That's the area, that's the safest places for storage of carbon. Unminable coal, it's nothing but economically poor quality of coal producing area. These are called unminable coal area. These are the sites have been suggested for carbon storage. The next heading, carbon sequestrations. The carbon sequestration is a process by which capturing and storage of carbon because to reduce the carbon dioxide availability in the atmosphere. If the level of carbon dioxide is rise in the atmosphere, what will happen? They increase the earth temperatures, automatically it may cause global warming. There is a drastic change in the weather conditions. So to reduce the availability of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, in order to reduce or also called to mitigate means to reduce the world global changes. For this purpose, we have to capture the carbon and storage of carbon in a particular site. These are called carbon sequestrations. So how to secure the carbons? Either occurs naturally or maybe terrestrially. So the carbon sequestration occurs naturally by plants and ocean. It may occurs naturally, carbon sequestrations, or maybe terrestrially or land. Terrestrially, it may occurs by the conservation of soil and the forest conservations. If you conserve the soil and forest, automatically we can secure the carbon. So the carbon sequestration occurs naturally by plants. How occurs naturally by plants? We know that carbon dioxide is one of the raw materials are needed for photosynthesis. Photosynthesis is done by all green plants due to the presence of a green coloring pigment is called chlorophyll pigment. They manufacture their own food material. That is why all the plants are called autotrophic plants. So all the plants have the capacity to trap the sunlight energy, convert to chemical energy with the help of carbon dioxide. Here, what is the role of carbon dioxide? Carbon dioxide reduced into carbohydrate. See, carbon dioxide reduced to carbohydrate, CH2O, 6 of N. These are the material that give life to all living beings by the process called photosynthesis, especially it's a dark reaction. We are going to study in higher classes. It is a reduction divisions. See here, all the green parts, the carbon dioxide is reduced into carbohydrate. Naturally, carbon is stored in the glucose. Glucose is 6H12O6. Carbon present in the glucose comes from where? Carbon dioxide. Naturally, ocean. a lot of phytoplankton, microscopic algae present in the ocean. So, nearly 80% of the photosynthetic producer present in the oceans. So, maximum carbon sequestrations are occurs in the oceans. So, it is occurs naturally. Nearly 80% of photosynthetic producers present in the oceans naturally. Terrestrially, how can we can secure the carbon, storage of carbon? By either maybe conservation of soil conservation and forest. Forest, it is another terrestrial responsible for to capture the carbon dioxide from the atmosphere for photosynthesis. It is maybe occurs naturally or it may be terrestrial conservations. So this have it is one of the capable or capacity we have to enhance the carbon storage areas. The next we are going to discuss for a certain examples. So what are the plants or microscopic plants and plants that have the capacity to mitigate to reduce the global warming to capture the carbon dioxides. For example, certain microscopic algae, microscopic algae. For example, chlorella, Chlamydomonas, Senidesmus, then Crocus, So these are the algae have the high capacity to secure the carbon dioxide throughout the world. So it is used as these are the microscopic algae present in the ocean that is used as carbon sequestrations, have the capacity to store the carbons. Chlorella, Chlamydomonas, these are called green algae. Chlorella and Chlamydomonas. Senidesmus, it is a non-motile green algae. They do not move one place to another place. These are non-motile green algae. Crococcus, it is nothing but blue-green algae, are also called cyanobacteria, have the capacity to secure globally carbon sequestration globally. Next is certain some trees also. For example of trees. For example, Eugenia caryophyllata. It is nothing but clouds. Lavangappu. Eugenia caryophyllata. It's a common name cloud. Its binomial name Eugenia caryophyllata is a tree. And also Tecostasma. It is another tree. It's commonly called the yellow trumpet. Another one is Cinnamomum virum. Cinnamomum virum. It is a binomial name of Lavangapattai. Cinnamomum virum. It's a true cinnamon tree. So these are the trees have the capacity to mitigate the global warming. Have the capacity to capture the carbon dioxide and store them. In addition to that, certain macroscopic algae, large sized algae which is present in the ocean, and also marine grasses. In addition to that, mangroves plus mangrove plant. Mangroves, the plants that are growing in the salty areas. These are called mangroves plants. For example, Avicennia, Rhizobora. These are the mangroves plants that growing in the salt area. These plants have been suggested to mitigate the global warming. They have the capacity to store the carbon dioxide have been suggested. Remember, certain microscopic algae, chlorella, Chlamydomonas, these are called green algae. In addition to that, Senidesmus, it is a non-motile green algae, colonical form. They occurs in a colonical form, but do not move from one place to another place. And Crococcus, it is a blue-green algae, also called cyanobacteria. It is a globally worldwide carbon sequestrations plants. Some trees also, Eugenia caryophyllata, Trichodesma, another one is the cinnamon trees. The next topic is carbon footprint. Footprint. Then what do you mean by carbon footprint? Carbon valittadam. Every human activities leave a mark, just like a footprint. Kaladi tadam. Every human activities leave a, just like a footprint. These are called a carbon footprint. Likewise, the carbon footprint is nothing, a total amount of greenhouse gases which are produced by the human activities. Total amount of greenhouse gases produced by human activities. What are the human activities? Like agricultures. From the agriculture, CH4, methane is released. Agricultures, industries, and waste disposal, dumping of waste disposals, burning of fossil fuel like coal and petroleums, either may be directly or indirectly released into the atmospheres. These are the various human activities. So a lot of greenhouse gases emissions due because of human activities. The greenhouse gases, for example, maximum, there are 60% of carbon dioxide released. Carbon dioxide is a 60% of carbon dioxides. The total greenhouse gases emissions contributed, among these 60% contributed by carbon dioxides. The remaining 20% by methane, CH4 methane, 20% contributed methane. The next 14% by chlorofluorocarbon, 14%. Remaining 6% by nitrous oxides, either may be dioxides or trioxides, nitrous oxides. So these are the total greenhouse gases. The total greenhouse gases are emissions because of human activities. So what is called carbon footprint? The total amount of greenhouse gases are produced by the human activities such as agriculture, from the agriculture field to release methane, industries field from carbon dioxide, and waste disposal carbon dioxide, burning of fossil fuel like coal and petroleum to release carbon dioxides, either directly or indirectly. So we can measure how much amount of carbon dioxides are released into the atmosphere due to human activities. These are called carbon footprint. So this carbon footprint measured either may be, how can be measured? Either may be individual persons, how much of carbon dioxide released into the atmosphere, or maybe family members, total family members, how much of carbon dioxide released, or it may be organization, நிறுவனங்கள் மூலமா, organization like industries and also schools, hospitals, this organization, total organization, either may be state level or also may be national level. So the national level or state level, either may be individual persons or may be total family members, how much of carbon dioxide released. So how can we measure? It is estimate that tons, estimate, and equivalent to tons of carbon dioxide per year or annum. How can we measure the carbon dioxide emission by the individual people? So it can be measured or estimate that's equal to ton of carbon dioxides per year. we know that 1 ton is equal to 1000 kg. It is a 1 ton. அப்போ கிலோ கணக்கில் டன் ஆஃப் கார்பன் டை per annum ஒரு வருஷத்துக்கு எவ்வளவு டன்ஸ் ஆஃப் கார்பன் டை ஆக்சைடு ரிலீஸ் பண்ணுறோம், இதை மெஷர் பண்ணுறது பேர் தான் கார்பன் ஃபுட் பிரிண்ட். ஸோ the burning of fossil fuels like coal and petroleum, it release carbon dioxide, certain other gases also. What are the other gases? Methane, chlorofluorocarbon and nitrous dioxides. As a result, increase the global warming. So due to the emission of these gases into the atmosphere, these gases to capture the carbon dioxide, solar energy, to trap the solar energy, that increase the global temperatures also. As a result of, if you increase the global temperature, increasing of global temperature, what will happen? What will happen? Melting of ice. Melting of ice. And also submerging of low-lying areas. Submerging of low-lying areas. I mean தாழ்வான பகுதிகள் எல்லாமே கடல்ல மூழ்கிரும். Increase the sea level, and also as a result of earthquake, tsunami formation. Submerging of low-lying areas and imbalance in the nature, or imbalance in the atmospheres or environment. Upset the balance of the nature. As a result, what will happen? Increase the cyclone formation, and also tsunami. As a result of tsunami, earthquake formations. So these are the various hazardous effect that takes place because of this emission of these greenhouse gases into the atmosphere. These greenhouse gases actually to prevent the reflect of solar energy into the atmospheres. Due to these greenhouse gases, a lot of hazardous effect that takes place. So how can we reduce this carbon footprint? Carbon footprint means how to reduce the amount of carbon dioxide released to the atmospheres. How can we reduce? We have to follow some practices. So what are the practices we have to follow to reduce the carbon footprint in the atmospheres? What are the practices? The first one is eating indigenous fruits and also product. Eating indigenous fruits and also product. What do you mean by indigenous fruits? உள்நாட்டிலே விளையக்கூடிய பழங்கள். If we eating these indigenous fruits, we can reduce the carbon footprint. How we can reduce the carbon footprint? By eating of our indigenous fruits and product. For example, if you buy the imported kiwi fruit, it is imported, it is a native of some other countries. If you buy the imported kiwi fruit, actually these fruit have been travels for long distance in the shipping as well as aircraft. They indirectly release tons of carbon dioxide to the atmosphere. Tons of carbon dioxide to the atmospheres. Due to long distance traveling. If the fruits has been traveled for the long distance or a long duration, tons of carbon dioxide indirectly released into the atmospheres. So that is why we should avoid the eating of this imported food. We have to eating the indigenous fruits and also product. And apart from that, to reduce the use of electronic devices, reduce use of electronic devices. For example of electronic device, cell phone, refrigerators, laptop, fridge, washing machines, TV. These are a lot of electronic devices. They emit tons of carbon dioxide to the atmosphere per annum. So, to reduce the carbon footprint, we have to reduce the usage of these electronic devices also. For example, of electronic devices, for example, laptop. When we use the laptop for 8 hours continuously, it is indirectly release 2 kilogram of carbon per year or per annum. I mean annually per year 2 kilogram of carbon is released when we use the laptop continuously for the 8 hours. So that is why to reduce the use of certain electronic devices also. Okay, the third practice for the reduction of carbon footprint, do not buy, it's a fast food items. And do not buy fast or also fried items, fast food items, and also preserved food items, processed food items, processed and also packaged food. You do not buy or use these fast fried food items, processed or preserved in the fridge, preserved food items, processed and also packaged food item should be avoided. It is also one of the way to increase the carbon dioxide levels. The next one is planting a lot of trees in the garden. Planting a garden, lot of trees in the garden. And also less consumption of meat and seafood. For example, fish. These are the seafood. We have to reduce the consumption of this meat and also seafood. These are the maximum emission of carbon dioxide to the atmosphere. If you follow this, apart from the, in addition to this, dry your cloth in a line. Dry your cloth on line. Don't use the dry cleaners. If you are using, it is electronic devices. If you use the dry cleaners, it is electronic devices that emit the carbon dioxide. So, should avoid this dry cleaners. We have to dry your cloth by using line. These are also called line dry cleaners. So, these are the practices we have to follow. If you follow these practices, definitely we can reduce the carbon footprint in the atmosphere. Okay. The next heading, carbon sink. What do you mean by carbon sink? That's any system have the capacity to secure the carbon dioxides. I mean to accumulation of carbon from the atmosphere. Any system have the capacity to accumulate more atmospheric carbon in a particular time or particular interval of time instead of that releasing to the atmosphere. Any system either maybe naturally or maybe artificially have the capacity to accumulate, to store, to accumulate the more carbons from the atmospheric carbons instead of that releasing into the atmosphere in a particular time or particular set of time. These are called carbon sink. The carbon sink either it may be occurs naturally or maybe artificially. How the carbon sink occurs naturally? For example, forest, soil conservations, and ocean. These are the naturally occurring carbon sink areas. Forest is a lot of, it's a western wealth source of plants. A lot of plants are occurs in the forest. We know that evergreen plants have the capacity to trap the carbon dioxides from the atmosphere that's converted into carbohydrate through photosynthesis process. So forest, soil sequestration, soil, this is a source of plants. Soil, where the plants are growing in the soil, for conservation of soil. Ocean, 80% of photosynthetic producers present in the oceans. So this is the area for carbon sinks are occurs naturally, but artificially it may be occurs. Artificially, it may be occurs through or by landfills. Landfills. The carbon should be dumped in the depth of 1 kilometers or more than 1 kilometers under the rock, underground rock formation. These are landfills. So it may be a man-made or artificially. We have to dump the carbon dioxide, capture the carbon dioxide from the atmosphere that can be stored in the underground part. So it may be occurs naturally. These are the way of carbon sink or occurs either maybe naturally or maybe artificially by landfill, naturally by forests, soil and oceans. The next heading, biochar. What is called biochar, how it is formed, what are the uses of biochar in the agriculture field? That's we are going to discuss. Biochar is nothing. It's a long-term method of storage of carbons. We know that just now we were discussing how to store the carbon in underground parts. These are called carbon sequestrations. And what are the effect of, what are the problem effect we are going to face in the atmospheres, in the environment due to of global warming and other things we discuss. The biochar, it is another long-term method of storage of carbons. How to store the carbon in the long-term methods? To increase the plant ability to store more carbons. How to increase the plant ability to store more carbon? The plant parts such as crop waste or crop residues, crop waste, wood waste, certain other crop residues, they burn partially. If you increase the plant ability to store more carbon, the plant parts such as crop waste or wood pieces, everything burn partially due to the partial burning off. Not complete burning, partially burning off this material that become carbon rich, slow decomposing material is called biochar. If the organic material, plant material, they burn completely, what will happen? They release ash. Entire carbon is released to the atmosphere. So, we have to prevent or restrict the complete burning of carbon material. They store them for the long distance, long durations. That is called biochar. Biochar is nothing but the plant parts that may burn partially, not completely, partially, that become carbon rich materials, carbon rich, slow decomposing material is called biochar. It is a kind of charcoal. Charcoal is nothing but mara curry. Likewise, like how the charcoal is formed, likewise biochar is also formed. It is a kind of charcoal, but it is used soil amendment. These biochars are extensively used in the soil amendment. What do you mean by soil amendment? A little changes of soil. Sterile soils may be slowly converted into fertile soil by the application of this biochar. They increase the soil fertility. So that is why it is used in the soil amendment. Biochar. See, these biochars occurs in a stable solid forms. Carbon reach a stable solid state. So they are extensively, they endure in the soil for thousands of years. Endure in the sense, these are existed under the soil for thousands of years as a form of solid states. That is called biochar. So how it is formed? Like charcoal formation, these biochars also formed from the biomass or made from biomass through a process called, or by a process called pyrolysis process. What do you mean by biomass? Biomass is nothing but organic material. Okay, the organic burning of this organic material, not complete burning, partial burning of this organic material such as plant material, wood pieces, wood logging, these are the organic material. If they are partially burning, how to induce partially burning? By the applications of low oxygen environment. Burning under low oxygen environment. Low oxygen environment, they become rich source of carbon. See, remember, the entire biomass or organic materials are completely burning, they release entire carbon dioxide storage release into the atmosphere. So we have to prevent this complete burning. These are called biochar, that's become converted into biochar. So how to prevent? By the process called pyrolysis. What do you mean by pyrolysis? Treating of this material or organic material under low oxygen environment. If they are high, if we can treat the high oxygen environment, what will happen? Oxygen is a good supporter of combustions. If you apply in the high oxygen content, they completely burn, release a ash, increase the carbon into the atmosphere. To prevent this, which arrest the wood completely burning by using the process called pyrolysis. Once again, I would remember how these biochars are formed. It is made from the biomass through a process called pyrolysis process. Biomass is nothing but organic materials are not completely burned, partially burned under low oxygen environment. So the biochar, it is a potent mitigate to the global climate change, to reduce global climate change through carbon sequestrations. If these biochars are applied individually into the soil, what will happen? Individually applied by application into the soil, they increase the soil fertility, increasing soil fertility, and also increase agriculture product also. Increase agriculture productivity, and also provide protection against certain foliar and soil-borne diseases. You know what's called foliar? Certain diseases are spread through leaves. These are called foliar disease. Foliar means leaf. Certain diseases spread through leaves. Certain diseases are, certain microbes or soil burning microbes are there affect the plant. These are called soil borne diseases. So if you are applying the biochar into the soil, they increase the soil fertility also, as well increase the agriculture product also gets increasing, and they provide a necessary protection to the plant against foliar and soil borne diseases also. The next, it is one of the good choice of method. This biochar, it is a good choice or a good important choice of method. How they are preventing the waste wood or logs. Log means wooden pieces. Certain waste wooden pieces, they are getting decomposed under the soils. So instead of that they get decaying and decomposes, these wood are converted into the biochar. We have the ability how to convert the biochar. We can treat this wood or burning of this wood under low oxygen environment. If you treat it with low oxygen environment, they are not not completely burning. Incomplete burning, they store the carbons. So if you convert the biochar, automatically these biochar converting them into the carbon storage materials. So these are the formations of biochar. Biochar, like a charcoal, it is one of the long-term method of storage of carbons. It is extensively used in the agriculture for a lot of benefits also. It is like charcoal formation. It is also formed through a process by a process called a pyrolysis process. And thank you, students. And you watch my videos continuously without skipping, you may easily understand. And next videos we are going to discuss next topic. Thank you.